Previously on Kiko Collects.
Well, here we are. This is essentially the calm before the storm. I'm ragged, I haven't shaved as you can see, but we're making progress. We have made exceptional progress. So we have made a lot of progress. But I think we're making some progress, but oh All right, well, you may have seen the original, the clickbaity title of I Quit. Well, obviously, I did not quit collecting, I quit collecting Detolfs. And we switched to a new display type, a new hope in collecting for me, perhaps. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get into that today.
When you're in the midst of a massive undertaking such as this, the fog of war makes you wonder whether or not it was really worth it in the end. I mean, for someone who is very neat and likes things to be in order, this is not exactly what I had in mind. An absolute mess. Oh, and by the way, yeah, I had 20 plus Detolfs that I needed to figure out what to do with. I had to get them down the stairs. And have you ever lifted Detolfs up and down the stairs? Well, let me just tell you, it's not exactly all it is cracked up to be. And yes, it is just a one-man crew. You might be asking, well, who's filming? Well, it's Amy, but she doesn't have the ability to really get this down or really help, so I will take her camera skills for sure. But yeah, after I've done this 22 times to be specific, I kind of figured it out. But enough of my blathering. Let's get on with it and see if I actually completed this project. And now, the continuation of A New Hope.
Well, here's mission log day 10 million, it seems like. This is a very long project, but we're almost getting close to the end. Still got a few things we need to tidy up. But as you can see, all the backdrops are in. We have moved some different things around. I need to still upholster those shelves because I'm thinking about using a bigger shelf here for my Venom statue. So I'm not doing that one yet until everything else is done. But I have made a few egregious errors that I wish I would have thought about. And y'all asked for part 2, so this is part 2. Some of the things I didn't really think through, especially was how to get the wiring for my accent lights to actually work when I put up these backdrops. Had quite an issue with a lot of the wiring when it came to that. Had to kind of break off some of the back panels, move some different things around. That's why it's a mess right now. But we got that situated. Still have a few things, like I said, I need to tidy up, but it's late on Wednesday, the 5th, I think. I don't know what day it is. But we're going to get back in it tomorrow and hopefully get everything stacked up, get all this trash out, get all these Detolfs downstairs, and really start filling in some figures. But what I'm happy about is that this one turned out probably the best. Really, really happy about that. I'm gonna end up putting the tumbler, the DeLorean, and a few other little goodies there. So all that and more is coming up tomorrow. Well, here's our first major snag as we start to put this together. I thought this Venom statue would 100% fit on that shelf, essentially. But as you can see, he extends past it. So I'm thinking, because I've built these displays ultimately to want to display this type of statue and figure, and it deserves to be well lit, and that's why I'm doing this. So it's looking like I may need to put in this shelf, raise this one up. I don't know, it's about to be a disaster. We'll see what happens next. All right, things are starting to get moving now. I went ahead and tied up all the wires that would go into the actual rack so I can hide those and clean those up a little bit better. And now we're about to start putting all the figures on the shelf. Now, if I could say anything, and if you don't listen to anything I say, please make sure that you actually assemble all these completely before you start putting figures in, because I put all these figures in ahead of time and I wasn't completely done, but I was trying to move them out. I just didn't have spots for them because, as you can see, I still have a mess. I am still trying to figure out this situation. Oop, almost died there. Put the Hulkbuster, some bigger figures down there, but we moved the Venom statues in now, which I think looks awesome. Put Michael Jackson down there, and that originally was where Hulkbuster was supposed to be, but he is now here. So I'm still trying to figure this side out. I'm gonna take care of all the Marvel, all of the pop culture, Game of Thrones, all that stuff. All that's gonna be like right there. So once I figure that out, then I'll come over here and try to figure out what I'm going to do over here, because I still got plenty of room for all my Marvel figures, but I can add a whole nother shelf in potentially because I don't need the Hulkbuster. So all that to say is that it's been a headache because I've had to tear everything down and redo it because I didn't think through it properly to get everything situated. So we'll start over here where it's nice and clean, and we'll give you an update after that. I think we're officially calling it quits for today. Got a lot done though. Wanted to say this is every Star Wars figure that I own, and I'm gonna flash up on the screen what it used to look like and how condensed it was. And now, once again, this is not the final form. This is not how everything's gonna be laid out. I know it's very, very cluttered, but you can see I have lots and lots of space, which means I can really break out some figures into some teams, some scene-specific things, and I think it's going to look pretty good overall. And I have so much room to grow, which I'm really, really excited about. Once again, every figure I own is in here, for Star Wars at least. And even got a couple statues in there. Bad Batch, things like that. And so growth is coming, so we can do a lot of good things potentially. So as I said, I'm going to call it a day here because just tired, and this takes a lot of time. As I said, I did get the Venom piece in there. Not 100% sold, there's Drago, on what I want to do with this side, but we'll figure that out tomorrow. And when it comes to the zip ties and wire management, this is pretty much all I'm doing and what I kind of recommend for this purpose. So it's obviously gives it a clean look, but you want to make sure that you do it to where when you do end up putting the magnetic backing on, it isn't going to be sitting on a hole essentially to where the plastic's going to come into the magnet, which would make the acrylic piece not fit on. So that is your word of wisdom. You can see I did that here essentially, and that way it's a nice clean spot for when you put the acrylic. So learn from me and my mistakes, and hopefully it turns out good. All right, everyone, I think I got it where I want it to be. Not obviously final poses or anything like that, but this is the setup officially, all right? Got a lot to clean up, still need to figure out where I'm putting a few other things, but the lighting is in. We have put all the shelves in. We have strung up all the different cables and made that as clean as possible. We still need to get the acrylic for every panel. This is just the one that was left over originally, but now it's time to start sorting through some of these figures. And from there, I think we're going to have a nice little product. As you can see, I have everything I own, with the exception of a couple statues, is in this room right now. So I do have a lot of space. I'm in a completely empty space there, half that shelf there. So there's lots of room to spread things out. So with that being said, I'm going to start tidying it up. We're going to put the statues at the top, and the next update hopefully will show you a little more of a cleaned up room and kind of some final looks as we move into this. All right, so this is about as much as I'm willing to let everyone see, but we are real close to being done, if you want to call it that. There are quite a few things I need to fix still. All these Star Wars figures are going to be spread out more because, as you can see, there's quite a bit of room, especially down there. But what I found out after knocking down about 45,000 different Iron Men, that I have the room for it. So all of them, and this is going to make some people upset, I am going back to stands for most of these figures, especially Iron Man, because they're too heavy. I don't want them toppling over. So if they came with a stand, they're going to be on a stand. Going back over here, as you can see, they are on stands. And the problem is that I have a lot of my boxes in storage, but I've had some of them in here. So I've just been going through one by one and putting the stands back with the figures. So I'm gonna have to go back into storage eventually and get all the rest of the stands to put on these. Now, not every figure is going to get it, obviously. Some of them stand pretty well, but most are going to go back to stands. So that's one thing I'm doing, as you can see, and I think it's going to work out pretty well. So that's one thing I wanted to do, is to make sure that none of these things topple over. But I think we're pretty close. As you can see, the main thing is I need to spread out some things, and I'm not gonna show you final looks because I'll save that for the collection room tour, but we're close. I need to decide what I wanna do with these final statues. Most statues are up here. And if you're wondering kind of like, what exactly is this again? I've done a video about kind of these. They're just garage frames that you customize, essentially. These are wooden planks, if you've seen, and I just went through and upholstered them. I am not very handy, as you can see. They look better from far away than up close, but that's all I'm doing. And then I have these lights, which I think are a lot better than your standard like DTOF lights. They're very bright. And what I'm doing with these is I'm just using double-sided tape, and or not double-sided tape, but Velcro, and putting that up there. That way I can just take them off and pop them whenever I need to. So that's what I'm doing for those. That's what these are. And then for the lights with the cable management, all it is just, if I can get it to focus there, it's just zip ties, holding it in tight there. And then once you have everything all situated, the final piece are these acrylic panels. Now I only have two because I've only had one of these originally, but each one will have their own acrylic panel. And I officially ordered those from my local acrylic producer, I suppose. Covenant Plastics is where I got mine. So if you have any questions about kind of what all this goes into, the frames, if you're wondering, I got those at Home Depot, and they range from like 100 to 150 bucks depending on what you're getting for each frame. And then for the actual upholstery part, all that is bed sheets, about $10 for a queen set, and that's kind of that. The backing is just some plastic, if you want to call it that. It's real thin, and I just wrap that and upholster that as well. And I just use the extra bed sheets for that. It's about 35 bucks per sheet for that. And then my official quote, I'm just being transparent here, my official quote for all the remaining acrylic is just a hair over $1,000. So if you can imagine doing this with, I don't know, Moji cases, Moji spaces, it's going to be a lot of money. And I feel like this is the more cost-effective option for me, mainly because I have way too many figures to have to go Moji space. Everyone's like, well, buy nice, buy twice. But I think I've done this well enough to where it's going to be long lasting in the long run and look pretty good. So all in, I think it was right around 2,500 bucks, $3,000 for everything that you see here. So being able to put my entire collection upgrade the display, get a lot more room, as you can see. There's just so much more room now, and I still got a long way to go to be able to amplify and maximize the space. But I don't want to show you too much more because that'll be for a collection video, but hopefully you've enjoyed this. I think I made the right call. Got our hue lights up there. Let me know down below in the comments what you think. As I said, don't worry about all that. That's going to be spaced out properly. Just wanted to make sure everything was in there, but that's going to do it. I quit collecting DTOFs, that is. And that's it for today. And I will be seeing you in our next video, which could be the next collection tour.